Hello everybody, I hope you're having an outstanding day. Thought I'd do something a little bit different tonight. It's just me. I'll be talking about past life regressions. I have some clips and I must say hello to Chris, who looks like he's been joining very early, so very nice to see you, Chris. I'm just going to share this out for people as well so they have the recording. So let's just see where we are at the moment, and I'll give this a share. I hope so far you've all been having a very happy Tuesday so far, and welcome to Chit-Chat Tuesday. So let's close this down and get back on there. And do let me know as it's just me tonight, if you can hear me, see me okay. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about the sound balancing. I must say hello to Soldier. I hope you're doing good here. So, I haven't done anything about past life regressions on this channel for quite some time. Hello Lorna, I hope you're good. Hello to you, thank you for joining in. I have some clips lined up from some of my regressions. We're joined up with Exploring the Afterlife and Past Life Regressions with Paul Goddard. So do let me know if you're here, and hello to you. So I've got some clips. Do ask me questions about past life regressions or reincarnation in general. Hello Cowabunga, wonderful to see you. And also I've got a couple of bits of paper here that are just some of the things that I share when I give my talks. So I'm going to just welcome people in here. Please give this a like, give it a share out, and it'll be great to have a bit of a conversation with you going. I'm usually quite good at just filling in the blank if nobody wants to speak, but you know, if you want to say hello, you'll certainly be helping me out, and do ask any questions. So how's everybody's Tuesday been so far? Hello Annie, lovely to see you here on Chit-Chat Tuesday. Now, I'm going to just say, Naomi, hello to you, good evening. If you wonder, it's just me tonight, but I thought it'd be nice to share some of my regressions. Some of these will be from, well, most of them will be from my Past Life Regressions with Paul Goddard page. So you will see some of these clips before. Some of you might have not seen them before. Sometimes it might be nice to go over memory lane, but I thought it might be nice to just share out how I got in to the reincarnation. So hello to Sigona Guitarist. I hope that I got that. Hello on YouTube. Sounds fine. Brilliant. Lovely. So I thought I'd share a couple of videos to begin with. Yeah, it would be lovely to see what you do, Paul. Thank you, Annie. I much appreciate that. Lovely to see from you. And yeah, October breast cancer, brilliant. Absolutely great that you're putting awareness to that, and well done for it being your profile picture. So let's start off. I thought I'd share with you the very first regression that I did when I knew that I could do them online, which was with Tim from Ghosted UK. It's not the full thing, it's just a clip taken from it. I thought you might find that really interesting. Hello Pat, I hope you're doing good. And the reason why I thought I'd share that out is because it's the first time I ever tried anything like that online. Now you may be aware that my camera is using the laptop camera, not quite so good as now. Also sharing some of why I choose mostly the corridor method of getting people into regressions. It would have been really interesting to show the very first past life regressions that I did, and one of them being Nanny Lynn Sindri. However, there was a camcorder at the back of a room and you can hardly hear what's being said. It is on my channel, and if you put the captions up, it does help a bit. But again, it's only a clip, I've got to find the full thing. So, yes, I can see you, Chris. Right, what's this? I was not on your channel and not ETA. So yeah, hopefully you'll be seeing some new stuff here, and I apologise for those that have seen these clips already. So this is Tim from Ghosted UK. This is the very first time I tried past life regressions online, and when I spoke to Tim, he asked if I could hypnotise him. This was during lockdown, and you've seen some of Tim's excellent ghost videos. And I said, I have no idea if this is going to work online. Let's give it a go. If you're happy to give it a go, I'm happy to give it a go. So here's about a 4-5 minute clip from Tim, Ghosted UK. So here we go. Here is it.
1807.
1807. Very good. On the next count of 3, you'll be able to tell me if you feel you're male or female in this life. 1, 2, 3.
Male.
Male. Good. On the next count of 3, you'll be able to tell me a name will come into your mind. What they call you in this life. 1, 2, 3. What do they call you in this life?
John.
John. Okay, John. What I want you to do now, John, is to stay in with this lifetime, to go to the time of what you do for work in your day-to-day living at around this age within this lifetime. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Go to what you do.
Swords.
Swords. Okay.
Swords.
What else are you aware of?
Swords. Horses. Swords. Hay. It's hot.
Okay. Is there anyone else with you at this moment?
No, I can't see. It's so dark again.
Okay, so it's dark, and you can also use your feelings as well, what your senses are feeling right now. So you say there's a lot of swords that you're getting right now. Do you feel that you're using them, or do you feel you're making them, or that you're just looking at them?
I don't know. I can just see them. I can see them. I can't touch them, or I can't go near them.
Okay.
So I can only look.
Okay. On the next count of 3, go tell me where in the world you feel you are. 1, 2, 3. Where in the world do you feel you are?
I can't see.
That's okay.
I can't see.
So just go back to the just being with the swords and stuff there now. So you see swords and things. Describe to me what else you're aware of.
I can't see.
Can't see. Okay.
No. I think I'm blind or something because I can't see nothing. No.
Okay.
It's like I've got no. I was seeing before, but now I can't see.
Okay. What I'm going to do, if you were blinded within this lifetime, I want you now to go to the moment of where that might have happened on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, I don't like it.
Okay. Back to that nice time in front of the farm. 1, 2, 3. Back there now. Okay.
Okay.
Back there now. What I want you to do to make sure there's positive, I'd like you to now go to your happiest memory within this lifetime. You okay there?
No, I feel dizzy now.
You feel dizzy?
Yeah.
Are you happy to continue?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
I think a little bit longer then.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. So you tell me if you want to change it at all. Okay. So I want you to, in this lifetime, go to your happiest memory. 1, 2, 3. Your happiest memory staying with this lifetime, and let me know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What you're experiencing.
I can see the sea.
See the sea. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who else? Is anyone else with you there?
I feel sick.
Okay.
I feel sick. I'm in a. That's weird. That's a boat or a ship.
Okay. Do you feel you're on the ship?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go to a time when you're off the ship if you're feeling sick at the moment?
Okay.
So I muted that so you couldn't hear me during that, so I must remember to unmute that. I've got some questions here which I'll read out. First of all, from Annie, how many years have you been doing this? I've been doing it professionally since 2008, and sorry, not 2008, 2000, that's when I started to get my practitioner. It was 2010 that I actually started out properly professionally. I had completed my NLP practitioner. I'd done a hypnotherapy course, and I learnt some past life regressions during that. It was actually when I was with Lynn on a ghost investigation that I asked if I could try some past life regressions out, and Lynn booked me for some events after that. So it was a nice little catalyst for me. But I've been learning NLP since 2006, but really properly professionally setting up since 2010. In 2011 I got the master practitioner. Yeah, so Chris, he that was Tim. He used to have a background with a green screen and used to project different various scenes from it. Saint Spookies used to do quite a regular spooky chat show, but because of I think it might have been his daughter moving back in. If you're watching Tim, do correct me if I'm wrong. He had to give up his sort of room he was doing that in, and put it downstairs now on the sofa. And let's have a look here. Paul, you look young now. What's your secret? That was only 2 years ago. Have I really aged so much? It was standard definition camera on that, so maybe it the grey hair and wrinkles weren't showing quite so much there. Let's have a look at this. He must be a cavalry man. Cavalry man. Sorry, yeah. I can't say that word right now at the moment. So Chris was thinking of blacksmiths, but I'm stumped now. It's interesting because he actually was on board ship, and it was interesting because that's where he was happiest, but he did mention straight away that he was feeling sick in the regression. Is there anyone that you would love to regress if you had the opportunity? I find each person interesting. It's the story that ends up being the most compelling one, like Steve Mulligan's story that got in the papers. I'll share a little bit of Steve's regression then, but I think anybody's really interesting. Let's have a look. Is it normal to feel dizzy and sick? It's amazing that when you go to a time in your life when you're on board ship, quite a lot of people say they really generally feel the rocking. I was on Paul Bannister's chat show on Wednesday, and he said that he had a regression going back a little time, and he was on board ship. He said he could really feel the rocking and did feel quite dizzy during it, so it's quite interesting. Let's see what Cowabunga. Hello Cowabunga, my friend. Has anyone ever been so uncomfortable during the regression that they spontaneously woke themselves up? No, funny enough. Somebody was, I think, a bit nervous and brought themselves out at one point. That was during a live, and then I did take over and show somebody else. But on the whole, no, nobody ever really feels that uncomfortable that they don't want to continue it. As with like Tim, he didn't want to go to a certain time. That sometimes happens. But I often find during the regressions that people say, oh no, I want to feel all the emotions and things. So yeah, not. I like to experience the nice stuff, but obviously they're in a state ready for it. Sorry, Paul, you look young now. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I'm 41, so thank you for saying that. Let's have a look at Steve. I wonder if he was a prisoner and that's why he could see and not touch the swords. Yeah, it was interesting. It was something to do with his life. I think he was kind of on board ship most of it. In fact, somebody from his team did a bit of research, and I'm still waiting on that research. So if it can be sent through to me, that would be absolutely brilliant. And Steve also says, oh, there you go. I'll come back to that in a second. And the blindness was from torture. Yeah, I don't think he could. I think it's probably, from what I remember of the session properly and looking up for these clips, it was just like poor eyesight, and that you didn't have opticians you could have to check everything was out okay now. And there were certain points during the regression where he was beginning to find it darker and more harder to see. I have something called anesthesia. I'm really sorry. A dyslexic. I do have those words that I have difficulty with sometimes, phonetically, which means I can't visualize imagery when I close my eyes. Here's my related question. Have you ever come across that, and would it negate, be negative for the regression? And it's absolutely fine, really, don't worry about it. Hi Barry, hope you're doing good. It's fine. I tend to find most people, when they have a regression, are either visual, they're either kinesthetic, which means they get more feelings, or they're quite auditory. Usually the what I call digital people, the facts and figures, tend to not do the regression, but I think when they have it, they're more kind of like the idea comes to them of where they are at the time. So sometimes people find that if they're they're poor at visualizing when they sit in the chair with me, they can visualize during the regression. But also as well, you've got those different sense, and sometimes people don't really get to see very much at all, but they get to hear a lot and feel a lot. If you were to ask me that question a few years ago, I would have said you always be aware that you're you. You always be aware that you're sitting in the chair. However, I have come across very, very occasionally, like 1 in 1,000, if that, where it is incredibly vivid to the person. It's actually pretty much like being there. But I guess as you do more and more of these, before I was living off my own experience during regression, what I've been told, but I've done loads and loads of these now, so occasionally people will claim that it's like they're absolutely there. Hi Debs, I hope you're doing good. Let's see this one from Lorna. I'm wondering what work you did before you did this professionally. First, second job you had. Oh, right, okay. Well, the 2 jobs that I had, really, because one I worked a very long time. I was working as a linen porter at the Queen's Hotel, and then I was a venue assistant at a wonderful music and arts place, although it did drop the words arts centre from it, and it was also a conference venue called the Guildhall, the Gloucester Guildhall. Spent many, many years there, quite a lot of years there. In fact, I was there about 15 years, dealing with the venue, helping the bands with their get-in, tidying up after a gig, setting up chairs if it was a seated gig, if not, making sure that everything was fire safe and everything was okay, clearing up sick, all sorts of wonderful jobs like that. But what I loved about the work is that I used to be working during some days, and you have University of the Third Age, be doing something like enjoy music or creative writing, and then you get like a punk band coming in the evening, so it was very diverse. It also had a cinema there. The other job that I had for a time was working as a pre-club and sometimes nightclub DJ, which I totally loved. That kind of finished, I think, about 2005, 2006. And I did the ghost walks with the wonderful Nanny Lynn Sindri, and then I started learning NLP. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Let's have a look at Barry. I keep getting trapped water in my tummy all the time, Paul, but it keeps me awake all the time. I can't sleep at all with it, Paul. Can you please help me out, please, Barry? Yes, that's something you would, if you contact me privately, Paul at paulgoddardnlp.co.uk. I will certainly help you out there. Buzz, hello, my friend. I hope you're doing good. I hope you got my email the other day, because I've been thinking about you and your good wife. So I hope you're doing good. Interesting. Thanks. Okay, Lorna, did you get a shock on realizing you could actually regress people to past life? I mean, that you could actually do this and not just try and do it. Fortunately, I was trained up really well by, first of all, my NLP coach, the lady Kim Phillips, who taught NLP diploma, NLP practitioner, NLP master practitioner, and during that there was a lot of Ericksonian hypnotherapy. And Milton Erickson, I've got some of his books up here, Fascinating man, wonderful hypnotherapist and psychotherapist. He had bouts of polio twice. Towards the end he was only in a wheelchair. He used to wear a lot of purple because that's the only colour he could see towards the end of his life, and he was pretty much breathing with half a diaphragm at the end of his life. But the first attack that he had, he basically managed to teach himself to walk, and I could go into for ages talking about the fascinating life of Milton Erickson. So a lot of that was also metaphorical hypnosis, and I really love that as a fascinating subject to have in itself. Then I went with a celestial training with Dr. Raymond Roberts. His stage name is Ray Wants, and he also does stage hypnosis. So I did both the hypnotherapy and the stage hypnosis with him because I wanted to learn. Both thought, I never really planned to be a stage hypnotist, but people were always asking me questions about stage hypnosis, so I thought if I did a course in stage hypnosis, then I'd be able to answer people truthfully from what I know and experience, rather than I think it feels, something like that. And also the wonderful Maria Wheatley, who has been interviewed by Lindsay and John on this channel, and she taught me some further past life regressions as well. So yeah, that's really good. Hello Debs, very creative Paul. So I've got some more clips to show. I hope you're enjoying these clips. So I thought that this wasn't actually shown on this channel, but I thought it might be good to. So it's both Lindsay and John when they had some hypnosis with me. This was when they came down to Gloucester for the first time, on the outskirts of Gloucester. They stayed in an Airbnb, and this was kind of when lockdown was emerging. We were actually able to sort of meet in groups of 6, you know, the rule of 6. So yeah, this is this is Lindsay, and she goes back to being a Native American, a Red Indian.
Sound floor.
Okay. And what?
Surrounded by flowers.
Very good. So you're surrounded by the flowers.
I'm having flowers in my hair.
That's really nice. And how old are you? Or how old do you feel in this?
4.
4. And who else is with you at this time?
My mum and nan.
Lovely. First of all, on the next count of 3, name of your mum in this lifetime will come to your mind. 1, 2, 3.
Flower.
Flower. Lovely. And your nan, that name will come into your mind now. What's your nan's name?
Nana Moon.
Nana Moon. That's lovely. Now, at the age of 4, just move forward a little bit in time, staying with this lifetime, to you being at the age of 10 or around that age. Allow that to happen now. The age of 10 or around the age of 10. And describe to me what you're aware of now at the age of 10.
Tan skirt.
Okay. That's nice. And what else are you aware of? Describe what you're sensing or seeing now in this moment.
Just flowers in my hair.
Flowers in your hair. Wonderful. Now, you said earlier on that there was a time in your late teens where you were hunting. I want you to go to the moment within this lifetime when you were first taught how to hunt. Allow that to happen now. Go into the time when you were first taught to hunt. And describe to me what's happening.
There's a few children with me.
Okay. And how old do you feel you are at this moment?
8.
8. Okay.
But no women, just men.
Okay. And describe what these men look like, and if there's anything they're carrying, or how they catch the food.
Spears.
Spears, okay. Describe one of these spears to me, please.
This short, but this two. This is short. This is a short one, but it's more knife pointed. But the tall ones, like an arrow, like 3 points.
Okay,
Triangle.
great. And now, please tell me what these spears are made out of. What materials are these spears made out of?
Trees, bark, trees, wood.
Okay. I remember to unmute my mic this time. So that was Lindsay, and yes, I heard somebody say, I didn't hear somebody say, or did I? I read somebody say Lindsay looks very relaxed. Let's get Soldier up there here now. Paul, is it better to regress people in person opposed to over the internet? Both is fine, and both can get absolutely excellent results. I actually find that it's a little bit easier when you have somebody in person sitting next to you. Hypnosis is about pacing and leading, and when you see somebody getting into the state of relaxation, you give more suggestions to help them going into that state of relaxation. When you have somebody over the internet, you've always got to be aware there's a little bit of a time delay. So one of the things you might notice that I do a lot during the regressions is get people to open their eyes and close their eyes. So what I'm doing here is a technique called fractionation, which is when somebody's in a light trance, you take them out of the trance, put them into the trance, out of the trance into trance, and it helps allow that person to go deeper. I give a hypnotic suggestion in the beginning that eyes will remain closed. So when I see that their eyes remain closed, I see that they're kind of taking those suggestions on, so they're already kind of going into that state. So that's what I do, the eyes opening and closing. Now when somebody's sitting right next to me, I can say, open your eyes, and then I can see that their eyes open, and I immediately tell them to close their eyes again, because you don't want to bring them out too long. It's just a little brief them back into hypnosis. Whereas when I do it on the internet, I have to kind of guess how long they are going to take to open their eyes. So I'll say, open your eyes, and then close your eyes, and you usually then see people open and close their eyes. Sometimes you don't see it at all, but then I then add extra suggestions in as well. So we're really lucky that we have this technology, because if this was going back to the 1990s or before, or even early 2000s, there'd be no way that I could conduct these sessions with people that can't come to see me. So I'm incredibly lucky here. But also as well, some people have excellent microphones on their phones or their laptops or their tablets. Other people, I'm pressing the earbuds in as hard as I can to my ears to try and hear what somebody's saying, the sounds up loud. So for that reason, it's also easy to have somebody in the chair. And also as well, I think they get an excellent recording, because I run and record the session in high definition. Their mic up, so if they're speaking quietly, I've got the microphone set to auto, so it will actually adjust to pick up their voice as well. So there we are. Should have put this one in actually, Pat, but is it possible that two different people could be in the same past life? Different lives, yes, most definitely. That happens, and you do hear children with spontaneous past lives talking about this all the time, and people saying about when you were the mother. You hear those children saying things like that, and they're talking about when they were the grandfather and they used to tell off their daughter, and now they've been reborn as the child. That sometimes happens. But I did actually have, and it was with Pat Coper, if I get her surname right, I really hope so. Lovely, lovely lady from Hunting the Haunted, or she used to run Hunting the Haunted, and she went back to a parallel life. She actually, I said, going to a past life that she's lived, and was really surprised when she said it's 2010, so that came as a complete and utter shock. But with that life, she was a solicitor. I didn't really ask about the cases, because obviously if it was tapping into somebody who's alive now, it could potentially going into a case that was happening and still needed to be, hush around it. Also as well, I didn't take her through, which I take most people when they have a past life, through to the death experience, because I thought if she really generally was tapping into someone that's alive, whether it's a split life, whether she's tapping something in the ether, or however that information was coming, if that person was found to be absolutely true, and then next year she was involved in a horrendous car accident, I didn't think it was ethical for me to go into that sort of thing, particularly that it's available for everybody to see. But unfortunately, I don't think her channel's going anymore, but that is also on my Past Life Regressions with Paul Goddard. Yes, this is it. Annie said, looks so relaxed. Lindsay looks so relaxed. What an interesting night. Enjoying it, Paul. Thank you. That's really nice. I just wondered how people would like it with it just being myself tonight, but I thought I'd most certainly give it a go. Right, has anyone spoken in a different language in a regression? I haven't had it, unfortunately, but I do know that hypnotists have claimed to have that. What happens, and it's happened to me as well when I've been regressed, is that you hear the language and you can't understand what on earth it's saying, but you can hear yourself saying it back, so you can't quite understand it properly. That's how it tends to happen. But as I was quite convinced that everybody would always be aware that they're in the hypnosis chair until very recently, maybe something will happen soon that somebody starts talking another language. That's really lovely of you to say, Debs. So thank you. It's learning basically, Debs. So anybody could do it. If any of you wanted to do it, you could certainly learn it. It's just a little bit like I know some of you enjoy watching Strictly Come Dancing, and some of these people can be like professional dancers, or the dancers are nice, or anything like that. It's just kind of a learnt behaviour, and that's what it is with hypnosis. If you see back to some of my really early ones, I see all the mistakes that I made that I wouldn't do now, but that's about learning. Right, what's this then? I was just about to ask that same question. Interesting. Good, thank you. So you always expect the unexpected. This is a really, really short one, just before I go into John. And this is what happens because people really do find themselves in the situation. It does make me smile, this. This is one that I did with the wonderful medium Alan. And he went into the death experience. And for him at the beginning it was dark. And this is his experience of it. It's only a very short clip, this one.
What's this place? It's dark. I see. Where's he gone? It's all dark.
So he reached out his hands to find out where he was, and knocked over the camera and said, "I can't see, it's gone all dark." And I nearly said I can't see either at that point, but I didn't think that would have been the most professional thing to do. But it does make me smile seeing that clip, and I'm glad that he was already in hypnosis, because if he'd done that beforehand, I always like to see the person. That would have made it a bit difficult for me. Right, let's take a look at this. yes, I know anybody can do it, but it's also your personality too. Tall, caring, and know your stuff. Oh, that's really kind of you. Thank you, Deb. That's really lovely of you to say. I do enjoy working with people, and I do feel a lot of compassion and empathy for people when they're there. I think that's why I got into it. I got into it through my dad becoming unwell and listening to hypnosis CD, and also as well the book Paul McKenna, Change Your Life in 7 Days. That was another catalyst for me. I go for it. You can only make less mistakes if you keep trying. Exactly, Chris. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's just basically keep learning and progressing. Let's see this one. Was you scared then, Paul? When the camera fell over, if you can let me know, that'd be really good. Yes, I was thinking the same thing, can't see. So we've had Lindsay up. I thought it'd be really nice to show, just one more from Pat. I'll show John in a second. Paul takes great care of all his clients, goes above and beyond to help. That's really nice of you to say, Pat, and really appreciate your lovely comments to me tonight. It does mean an awful lot to me, and thank you. And I appreciate every single one of you, I really do. Let's do John. And John was on board ship. Edward. Wonderful. And Edward, on the next count of 3, your surname. Coming to your mind. 1, 2, 3. What's your surname?
Tanner.
Tanner. That's great. And on the next count of 3, a year will come into your mind of what year you feel it is. 1, 2, 3. What year do you feel it is?
1701.
1701. And now allow your subconscious mind to tell you where in the world you are. Where in the world do you feel you are?
At sea.
You're at sea. Okay. And just taking your surroundings now. You say you're at sea. Do you feel you're on a ship or a boat or something like that? Ship. Great. Just describe that ship and where you are now, what you can see and what you're aware of.
I can see the masts.
Okay.
I can see the deck. I can feel the ship rocking. I can see other people.
Okay. Describe these other people. What work are they doing? What do you see them doing at the moment?
A lot of different things. Some people are pulling ropes. Some look like they're mending or repairing things. Some are moving things about.
Wonderful. And how long do you feel you've been at sea for?
A few weeks.
A few weeks, okay. Now on the next count of 3, what position you feel you are on the ship? That'll come into your mind. 1, 2, 3. What position do you feel you are for work?
Operate the guns.
Guns, is that?
Cannon.
Cannon, okay. And now on the next count of 3, see if there's a name of the ship. It'll come to your mind. 1, 2, 3. There's a name of the ship.
I don't know.
That's fine. Now, staying with this lifetime, I want you to go to the area on the ship when it comes your time to sleep, so you can describe what it's like. 1, 2, 3.
It's just a wooden bunk.
Wooden bunk, okay. And is there anybody else in that area with you at the moment?
Yeah, everybody else.
Everybody else, okay. On the next count of 3, go to the time just before you set sail, so you can describe what that's like. 1, 2, 3. Just before you originally set sail.
In a port.
A port. Describe this port to me.
It's a dock. There's a lot of ships there.
Okay.
There's a lot of people loading up ships.
Wonderful.
There's a lot of military there.
Very good. And now allow to come to your mind where in the world you feel this port is. Allow that to happen now. Where do you feel that port is?
It's in England.
It's in England. Okay. And on the next count of 3, where the port is, town or village, or the place where you feel this port is based. 1, 2, 3. Where do you feel?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. Wonderful. And how do you feel at this moment in time?
Angry.
Angry. Okay. Why do you feel angry?
French.
The French. Okay. Now, staying with this lifetime, we need to go to the moment of when you first joined the sailing vessel, when you joined this navy, when you decide to do that. 1, 2, 3. The moment when you first joined the navy, when you first joined up.
Mm-hmm.
And let me know the decision, or
It was forced.
forced. Okay. Who forced you?
It's in a workhouse.
So that's really interesting that he said he was forced in the workhouse. He then goes and says how he was breaking up rocks, which I do know it was kind of ages after he had this past life regression experience. I found out that it could also be if you were in the workhouse, just basically a mind-numbing job they used to just give people for absolutely no reason as well. Another job that I know that they used to do is pulling strand apart. While they used to do these things, I don't know. Let me get this question up. Is it possible to tap into past lives in a dream? I've always felt very strongly connected to pirates, Native Americans too, although I'm a Creed tribe descendant. Well, I think it's possible. I think sometimes as well we can keep having a repetitive dream because it's what your subconscious mind is trying to tell you as a lesson. But I've certainly had people that have come to me and had a regression, and they've said about a dream that they keep having, and that it is part of their past lives, but they then come out with a lot more information during the regression than they had in their dreams, and able to get a bit more answers. So I think I wouldn't say it is 100%, and that's a little bit like the paranormal. Is the cold spot a draft, or is it actually a ghost? Sound can travel in mysterious ways and make things sound like EVPs, and I believe then there are genuine EVPs. So I think it's a little bit like that in the dream world and past lives as well, but I think it is a strong possibility and something you can either look into yourself by booking a session with somebody. Shameless plug here. Ooh, knocking them over, sorry. Oh dear. I'll pick those up later. My CD's available on eBay. That serves me right, doesn't it, for doing a plug there. I'll tidy that up later. So let's get a few more up here. Paul, I must say you have a lovely, relaxing voice. That's very kind, thank you. Jane, hi all. Yes, they did that then. Yes, indeed they did, absolutely. So I hope you're having a good night tonight so far. I hope you're enjoying the clips that I'm showing you. This one I wanted to share with you now is Charlene from Paranormal Hauntings. If anybody knows Charlene, you know that she's not a very emotional person, so this was quite surprising when this happened to her. And just allow yourself to move a little bit further forward in time. A little bit further forward in time. Staying with this lifetime, and let me know what's happening now. What's happening now?
We're on the boat. Me, Eric, and our son. And there's others.
It's very nice. How does it feel to be on this boat and this voyage at the moment?
It's scary.
I can imagine. And how's Alec and your son doing? How are they feeling, do you think?
Brave. My son takes after my partner.
Very nice. Allow yourself to move 1 year further forward ahead from where you are now. 1 year further forward ahead. And tell me where you are and what you see.
There's nothing.
Nothing. Now, staying with this lifetime, I want you to go to your very last day within this lifetime. Very last day. Allow it to happen now. Let me know where you are and what you see.
We're in a storm.
Sorry to hear that. Did you reach any land at all on this voyage?
No. So it's not been long. There's a really bad storm.
Sorry to hear that.
And we're all very scared, but my partner is. He's being strong.
I'm glad he's being strong for you. We'll now move further forward to your very last 10 minutes in this lifetime. That happens now. Your very last 10 minutes. And let me know what you're aware of in your very last 10 minutes.
The boats going. And it's coming up.
So you know, we'll just go back from here just 1 hour. 1 hour back from where you are now. 1, 2, 3. 1 hour further back. And just as you breathe there now, I'd like you to be aware that you'll experience only what emotions you wish to experience within this time now. And with that, are you happy to move further forward? Say
Yeah.
yes or no. You say that again, please.
Yeah.
You're happy to move forward. Okay.
Mm.
Just being aware that you'll only experience what emotions you're happy to experience in this time. It'll be your very last 10 seconds. And this will be like a videotape that could be fast forward or rewound. You only take on what you are happy to take on in the experience. Go to your very last 10 seconds now. Last 10 seconds. What are you aware of and what do you see?
It's what coming in the boat.
We'll
Yeah.
move. Carry on.
My son's gone.
Sorry to hear that. We'll give you some healing for this later. Just now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Just passed over now. And what are you aware of?
I'm in a room. My head hurts. There's a pressure on my head.
Do you know why you feel that pressure?
Mm-mm.
Describe this room to me and where you feel you are right now.
It's white and there's a window.
So I was really quite surprised that she got so emotional as she did during that one, because yeah, I know that Charlene is somebody who doesn't get that emotional usually, so that came as a total surprise for me. Hello Jeff as well, I hope you're doing great, Jeff. Tonight's very interesting. Thank you, Dabs. This is the very sad one. It was sad, and one of the consistents that I tend to notice most of the time is when somebody goes beyond the death experience and you go to, say, move forward, like I said, in this 1 year from now, most of the people, you do get some people that say, I don't think I made it, but a lot of people say it's gone dark or it's gone blank or I can't see anything. And it's always important when you do past life regressions, because it looked not good when they were on the boat, but is not to assume, because they may have made it. So that's why I just said go forward 1 year from now. She also experienced the pressure on her head where I think something had hit it. Made sure that we did a lot of healing and did it during the live as well. And there can be a lot of silence during the healing, and it's important that you sit with somebody whilst they're having the healing, so you fully well sit with them and make sure they receive everything as they should do. And everything was fine afterwards. Always make sure that people get that healing afterwards. And I find even when people have sad experiences like that and they're crying, they still come around afterwards, say how amazing it was and they liked it, you know. And I'm not just blowing my trumpet here. I've known it through other hypnotherapists as well, that people have said that about. Is there a guided relaxation on your YouTube, Paul, so that anyone could try it at home, or is that something that needs to be done in real time? I don't know if I have it on anymore. I did do a live one at some point. I certainly have. If you go to either Paul Goddard NLP and hypnotherapy, hypnotic holiday, which I did for people during lockdown when we couldn't get out and travel. I do get to do sometimes where it's like a general one, but also as well, that's on my Paul Goddard challenge, the Paul Goddard one. If anybody wants to have any healing from a terminal illness, I've got one that I do share out to people, so there's a hidden link to that. But these on just £5 CDs, and also as well, you can email me and get the £3 MP3 if you to do that. paul@paulgoldnlp.co.uk. You'll be really helping me out. I'm not just shamelessly plugging there, but I didn't put too much in the way of, well, there's a bit of one on my YouTube, because obviously running a business, I want people to contact me and get one of the CDs or have a one-to-one. But do look up if anybody is, so I'm not somebody who would just take my people if they're kind of haven't got the money for it right now. There are plenty of highly recommended guided visualizations on YouTube. A way of finding out if you've got a good one or not is just go through the comments and see if people like it or not. Let's have a look. On here, do you struggle sometimes dealing between taking someone out of a difficult situation or allowing it to finish? In your shoes, my instinct would be to protect her. Well, I know that it's one that I mention loads of times. I tend to only mention the ones that that people are happy for me to sort of mention, like the lady on the Titanic. But there's been loads of other times, loads of private ones where people have either drowned. But I find that actually experiencing that through somebody else is kind of a release. Also, as well, as you could see with Charlene, I did ask permission if she would wish to continue. And through my experience as well, I find that people like to have the whole life experience rather than just a little bit of it. And I think that it's important that I could have just taken her out of that. I mean, if she really was dead uncomfortable and didn't like it, that's never happened to me ever, actually. But if she was really uncomfortable with it, I could certainly take her out. But I think that people are happy to go through, also say you only experience what emotions you're happy to experience. So you see, she was still sad about it, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been to begin with. So I was making sure that I'm always watching people all the time. But by actually experiencing that, and then the very important healing work afterwards, I find that people can leave afterwards with either feeling a better self-esteem, curing phobias, that's happened to me, or helping out with other things might have going on in their life. Sometimes it can be health related, but there's also other healing techniques that I do in that as well. And on my channel, you'll see the healing process that I take people through. I haven't put any on here because it is a lot of sitting in quietness. And yes, it's live, but I think that if somebody needs healing, it's important to, for that moment, forget that it's live, forget the views, and actually just really concentrate on giving that healing that somebody needs from that experience. Pat said, I've got the CD, it's fabulous. Thank you, Pat. Anyone ever started snoring on you? Yes, not... She won't mind that I'm saying this because she's made a joke about it herself on the channel, but it was, I think, during John's. It was either during Lindsay's or John's. I'm sure it was John. The wonderful Nanny Lynn actually fell asleep watching me. I've had it where I've had an audience and somebody's been out and started snoring sometimes. And in the chair when people are with me, they sometimes fall asleep. But that's okay because that's during standard hypnosis. So the subconscious mind never sleeps. Has anybody ever been to sleep with the radio on or the television on one of the news channels and wake up the next day hearing the news knowing that you've known it because you've been taking it in subconsciously? Sometimes you have thunder and it gets interpreted into the dream, and sounds that you're hearing around you can get interpreted into the dream. So the subconscious mind is always there to alert you, to protect you, to keep you safe. So even if somebody falls asleep in the chair, their subconscious mind will still be listening out for the words. And the great thing is their conscious mind is completely switched off at that moment, so allowing all the good healing work, only what they want to take on, to go straight into their subconscious. Paul, have you ever not been able to bring somebody back? No, funny enough. However, I was told how to bring somebody out of that if they refuse to come out. And the reason why people don't come out is that you never hear somebody get stuck in hypnosis. In fact, one of my teacher, Raymond, they had a story in the newspaper. It was just to kind of get a bit of interest. It was like a light, funny story about somebody hypnotising themselves, one of their students, in front of the mirror, and basically got hypnotised and couldn't bring themselves out of it, and they were stuck there for hours until Raymond got on the phone to him or something like that. No, this never happens. Nobody ever gets stuck. What can happen is somebody's enjoying, because it's important to realise that the hypnotist doesn't have any control over somebody. Even when you see the daft, crazy shows of people doing all sorts of crazy, funny things, they're allowing themselves to be put into that state. If suddenly they're in that state and you told them to sleep and then the fire alarms went off in the venue, they wouldn't just be there waiting to be brought out. They would realise instantly that they've got to protect themselves and bring themselves out of it fully alert, fully conscious. But because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, sometimes people can go very deep into hypnosis, sometimes what's called the Esdell coma state, which maybe Paul might have gone into. He looked like he was pretty much there, which is where you're so far out, you're pretty much unresponsive, you don't feel pain during that time, and also as well you'll get catalepsy. So if I was to lift somebody's arm, it would remain firmly fixed at that moment. Quite fascinating, but that it's just like the best rest that anybody's ever had, and people come out of a really deep state of hypnosis feeling quite euphoric. So if you're in that euphoric state, they think, no, I won't come around when I count you up from 1 to 3 or 1 to 10, depending on whatever the hypnotist decides to do. So basically they're just enjoying it too much. But there are ways, which are my secret of bringing people out. Don't worry, it's not pinching them or kicking them. It's just it's just certain words that you kind of use. But I make sure I keep it a secret, because if anybody ever goes into that, they'll know exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, that's that. So Steve, let's see what Steve said. I would love to buy a CD, but the international mail is so unreliable. Steve, yes, email me, paul@paulgoddardnlp.co.uk. So that's paul@paulgoddardnlp.co.uk, and yeah, we can sort out PayPal sending through the MP3s. And on the disc, watch me whilst oh no, there's one here. It's not just one track, it's 4 tracks. You've got introduction, that's only just about a minute and a half. Then a visualization exercise for those of you that think they're not that great at visualizing. Then you can do that over and over again until you start to get better, and people do get better. It's a little bit like a muscle. You know, if you lifted a weight just once, you wouldn't go, well, that's it, I don't need to do that again. So if you want to build the muscle, you do it several times. So you can do track 2 as many times as you like. Track 3 is the past life regression, and because not everybody needs healing at the end of it, track 4 is the healing. So the track times are 1 minute 35 seconds, visualization 12 minutes 43, past life regression 32 minutes 4 seconds, and the healing 22 minutes 31 seconds. So I hope that helps you. Do email me. Somebody put my email up if that's possible, please, if you're able to, paul@paulgoddardnlp.co.uk, and I can leave it up there for a bit. That'd be what's this one? I think I've got several questions that I've missed here, and I've missed some people actually. Sorry, I think I said Jan. Carol, how are you? Irene, how are you? I think I said hello to Jeff, but hello again. Irene, yeah, that's all good. So I think that's everybody. Let's have a look at some of these questions. Has any of the tell if you haven't is there? Has any of the tell you if you haven't there? Sorry if I'm reading somebody's question now. Let's see what that says. Have you healed this life, Paul, or gone back through this life to heal the sitter? Yes, that's just called regression. There's certain things that I don't touch though. If it involves anything that could be potentially abuse as a child, you can open up a big can of worms there, and it's just really better not to go there. And I'm sorry if that was a trigger to anybody then. Also as well, if there's repressed memory, and sometimes people want to go to see if about going to a court case, it will just be thrown out instantly, and you'll get it on very dodgy grounds if you agree to do that. So in those situations, I agree speaking to someone, like if they go to a professional counsellor, that's the best route to go down for that. But certainly things like I've had people that have fear of spiders. You take them back to their first time when they had that fear of spider. Quite often it's seeing a parent, a mum or dad, absolutely freaking out around a spider, and you get to review it in a very different way, give somebody resources that they need for this life. So yes, you can certainly help heal this life as well. And also as well, I've mentioned it before, but if you know anybody who has a terminal illness, I allow 1 session a week to help somebody either in person or online that may be suffering with that. So if they I know that they sort of say that, you know, you shouldn't give people false hope, but I don't take any money from them, but I also think it's really bad to give anybody false hopelessness. So I never claim that this is going to work, but I do say to people, if you're willing to give it a go and just experiment and see what happens, then I'll do that. I know through my dad that's what he was trying to do with the hypnosis CD. He passed away from something else pretty much in the end. But during the whole time he was very optimistic. He had a joy for life, and also as well when he was in hospital, some of the staff would come to him to sort of just say their kind of problems to him, because he had such a light about himself, and people felt drawn to him and liked his optimism. So I can certainly sort of help you through that if you're willing to. So if you know of anybody, put them forward to me. if they want to as well. I'll never do anything that people don't want to do. That's always been my fear, getting stuck. Trust me, I'd be the first. But I'll get you out, Jeff, don't worry. We'll get you out. Right. That's being healed. So funny. Can't get rid of the dark entity that sometimes bothers me. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Irene. We can have a chat over the messenger about that maybe. And sorry if you didn't want me to pull that up, I do apologise. Thus me, I never want to come out of hypnosis. That's a compliment, thank you. Appreciate the detailed answer, Paul. Thank you for the time. Anytime. Let's hear. Could you send it over messenger? That's something else. People. Great question here. Are some people not able to be hypnotized? Everybody is able to be hypnotized if they're willing to be hypnotized. I do come across the very, very occasional person that struggles with a past life, although that's rare, and rarer than it used to be as well, but even back some years it was quite rare. When somebody's going into hypnosis, it's important because it's pacing and leading, and I said all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So when you feel yourself drifting into it, allow yourself to drift into it. If you kind of shake yourself around and bring yourself back out of it, you're going to be able to do that. So you could fight me or another hypnotherapist if you want to prove you couldn't go under. But if you're willing to go under, if you're willing to feel those feelings and go with it, then you will go into hypnosis. But everybody that's done it, even if they're really fearful, says it's such a relaxing place to go into. In fact, one of the ways that there is actually a myth going around that certain people can't be hypnotized is because in its early days, people used to do eye fixation. Very, very occasionally I'll do eye fixation, but I don't tend to go through it. I usually go through it during a demonstration to give a different induction, because I realise I've done loads of inductions and sometimes it might get a little bit samey if they're seeing, excuse me, the same induction going on. So basically with the eye fixation, you end up getting somebody to stare at a spot for a while, basically wear their eyes out and then give suggestions in where their eyes out, so they get tired as looking at this spot. I have very sensitive eyes. I've heard another quite well-known hypnotherapist say he has sensitive eyes. So if going back when hypnosis was more in its infancy, I would have struggled with the eye fixation because it makes my eyes very uncomfortable. So I'd have been put down as somebody who was resistant to hypnosis and couldn't have it done. But there are many, many inductions, progressive relaxation, confusion inductions, shock inductions. I do very, very rarely, incredibly rarely do a shock induction because I tend to find people usually don't like it, particularly when you go into them. It's very fast, looks brilliant on a stage show when people just have the shock and suddenly go into hypnosis. But the kind of more healing stuff I tend to not do it, but very, very occasionally, if it's right, I will. And it has to be right, and I have to know that the person is definitely going to be okay with it as well. So that's why I don't do it very often at all. One in a new house, soldier. I'll email Paul and get it via email. Thank you, thank you. Let's see what this one says. Jane, has anyone you helped helped see in heaven? I guess not a Bible version of heaven, but certainly a happy afterlife place, if that's your ideal of heaven. I certainly never had anybody go anywhere dark before, but the feeling of loved ones around, it is different from each person to an extent sometimes. There are consistencies. You do occasionally get people seeing a white light, but most of the time you get people feeling they're lifting from the body. That tends to be a consistency. And I've mentioned this loads of times, but a lot of the way people, if I do 2 lives with one, it happens quite regularly that people see like these little funnels, that they're little funnels, well, quite big funnels, but they're dropping down into the sky, like what seems like a sky to them, into the next life. And I know that some children have said, they've jumped through a hole and then they were here. That's been said a few times. So that's quite interesting through the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson, that children often describe a hole that they jump through to get back to their life. In fact, and I remember doing, and they were cool with me saying this story, talk one time, and this person remembered being a 30-year-old man in the 1930s and then being involved in a car accident, and the very next thing they knew, they were a baby in a cot looking out, and they said they remember their thoughts distinctively to this day, and that was, oh no, I'm a baby, and then basically kind of falling back into sleep afterwards. So interesting. What other questions have we got here? And thank you so much for watching. Irene shared. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. Let's see what else we have. Annie, you must take after your dad, Paul. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. That's very kind of you. I had such a wonderful dad, and I'm not a father yet anyway, but I just hope that I could be as wonderful a man as he was, and my mum as well. She's given me so much. They're both. I couldn't ask for better, more caring, loving parents. Have you ever had anyone who was famous in a past life, like a well-known celebrity? I haven't. I thought I was once an actress, and the dates fitted to somebody, or roundabouts fitted to somebody being really famous, and they didn't make it in the end, and the surname was different after I asked, and they ended up just working a normal job until they eventually passed away. So yeah, nobody really famous. I'll show the Flapper Girl next regression. That would be really good. But I've got lots of questions, so as you've been so kind messaging me these, I want to make sure I go through all that. Just can't talk about it on a podcast. Right, okay, so Irene, that's okay. No soldier. 11 healing. Just making sure. Let's see, it's Cowabunga. Excellent question. Are there people who you shouldn't do regression on their own? Well, part of my booking form is to always say, do you suffer from epilepsy or clinical depression? If you do, then I always recommend people speak to their doctor, because they've got a good idea of their history and what's going on. And I've never actually had, even from that a doctor has said, no, don't do it. But even still, I always make sure that I get that clearance from a doctor, a GP, their own personal guide through that work. But I never had somebody that... there was one person that was struggling, I was struggling with, but they had various things going on. That was just general hypnosis, and in the end I gave her a different route to go. I won't mention what that was, because that's not fair to the client that came. But if somebody came and they had delusions, so I wouldn't recommend that. Like, there can be all sorts of things, like you can have somebody that has the belief that, like, my chair is actually a spaceship kind of thing. So if somebody was that I wouldn't do that. But if they came for help, I never ever leave somebody without help. I always give them alternatives, names, alternative suggestions, because I think there's nothing worse than just somebody saying, I can't do anything about that. Would love to have that done. Paul, could you do two people at the same time as a husband and wife that feel they were husband and wife in a past life? I've had friends that have wanted to do this. But I've only ever had the one come through, because the one friend, although they feel there's a connection in a past life, is more willing to have it done than the other. But what I would recommend if that happens is seeing them both at separate times, to make sure they don't influence each other, because you want to try and get to what is the truth of it, rather than, although I'm sure they're being genuine, but that you can't think, oh, they heard it from that person, so that's why. Thank you, I get that. Would you say deja vu comes from a past life? It can be. And again, I've had clients that have had deja vu and it has been seemed to be related to a past life. But then I also hear that it can be a little mini blackout that we all get from time to time. And it's like the brain shuts off for that amount of time. That's all it shuts off for. And because it shut off for a minuscule second, then you come around from it afterwards thinking, I'm sure I've been here before. So that's what some people... So there's both sides of the situation. But yes, during past life regressions, some people have claimed to have deja vu, and it's come out during the regression. So we're talking about famous people here. This isn't a famous person, but this is a lovely lady that I hypnotized. This was literally my last live and one of the first lives I did on my own channel. So I do apologize for the camera and sound quality. I've learned a lot more since then, but you can hear what's being said. And this wonderful lady was a flapper girl in London.
Take you to a moment when you're looking at yourself in a mirror, so you can be aware of how you look. 1, 2, 3. Being aware of how you look. How do you look right now?
I'm ready to dance.
Say it again.
Ready to dance.
You're ready to dance. Lovely. Describe to me now what you're seeing or sensing as you're getting ready to dance.
Got a glittery beret hat on.
Nice glittery berry hat.
And my flapper dress. I've got my flapper dress on.
Very good. Your flapper dress on. Where do you feel you're going to dance?
On the stage.
On the stage. Excellent. On the next count of 3, I'd like to let me know what the stage is, or if it's a theatre, or what building, a name will come to your mind of where it is. 1, 2, 3. What's that name?
Royal.
The Royal. Okay, wonderful. I'd like you now to move to that time. Move to that time now when you're on the stage. And describe to me what you're seeing.
Oh, there's all of us. We're all there. All the girls.
All the girls.
About 20 of us.
Wonderful. And there's about 20 on the stage.
Yeah, all in our silver and our gold.
Wonderful. And how does it feel to be on here?
Oh, it's amazing.
Amazing. Wonderful. I'd like you to hold on to that amazing feeling. When you're now staying with this lifetime, just to after the show's finished, allow that to happen now. The show's just finished. And describe to me what you're experiencing now.
We're all waiting outside, all waiting to be picked up by our men. Got my cigarette.
Got a cigarette. Good. And describe to me what it is you can see as you're waiting outside, what you're aware of as you're looking outside.
There's lots of bustling, lots of people busying by.
Lots of people and lots
It's
of...
cold. It's really cold.
Okay. Are you dressing to help keep you warm at all?
I've got a coat on, but it's still cold. And he's late again.
And now, as he's late again, I'd like you now just to tell me what the name of this chap is that is going to pick you up.
Fred.
Fred. Wonderful. And this Fred, just allow his surname to come into your mind. Do you feel Fred's surname is?
Hampson.
Hampson. Wonderful.
Hampson.
Hampson. Now, staying with this lifetime, on the count of 3, when I click my fingers, I want you to go to the moment when you first met this man. 1, 2, 3. Time when you first met him. And describe how that happened.
After one of the shows, then he waited outside the door and asked to take me for a drink.
Wonderful. And can you describe how he looks?
He's tall. He's quite slim.
Tall and slim. Wonderful.
Dark hair.
And dark hair. Describe to me how he's dressed.
Oh, really smart. He's got a pinstripe suit on.
He's got a pinstripe suit. And what else are you aware at this time of any distinguishing features of him?
He's got a tash.
And a tash. Very good.
Took me a while to unmute then. So I like about the tash also as well. We were talking about catalepsy beforehand, where the muscles are evenly balanced. Now, what's very interesting about this regression is that you see where the volunteers' hands were at this moment in time. They remain like that throughout, absolutely no movement. So he was definitely in a very deep form of hypnosis. I also noticed I say wonderful quite a few times. So I kind of make sure I try not repeat myself too much, but I do see some of the words sometimes that I repeat sometimes. So let me remove that from the studio. Have we got any other questions here? And then I think I'll be finishing soon with Janice. She was brilliant, Janice. I really like her. And I was going to show Steve as well, so we're a little bit behind time actually. I'll do those two, even if we run over just a little bit. I do hope you're okay with me running over a little bit in time. Would they both have to choose to go through the same door to see if they were the past life? Interesting. It'd be interesting to see if they did go through the same door. I'll put suggestions in about if they were in this life together and be connected to the soul. Occasionally, like Steve, I'm going to show shortly, I drop out of the sky just to mix it up a little bit, and it was quite funny that I did that, and that's how his last moments were. The bit I do with Steve is a happier time, most definitely, when he was seeing his father perform on stage. So I'm going to go through these two now quickly, because I realise it's also getting later and it's a school night, and usually I finish by then. But I did say about Janice and Steve as well, because Steve's got in the newspapers, which was really good. So let me get Steve's up now. This one was quite well known. I really like this one. Now, staying with this lifetime, I want you to go to a moment when you're watching your mum and dad, or just your dad, at the side of the stage. Allow that time to happen now. And describe to me what you can see at this moment in time.
You can see the bright lights. You can't really see the crowd, but you can hear them laughing and clapping, but the lights is too bright to see them. Dad's doing like a dance up and down the stage, like acting funny and making the audience laugh.
That's very good. And tell me how he's dressed when he's performing.
He's got like a sailor suit on, like with a sailor hat and a sailor suit. And sometimes he has like a normal suit on and different hats. And he takes one hat off and puts another on out of like a box of hats. The crowd laugh.
Very good. And now, when you're watching him perform at this moment in time, what town is he performing in?
He's in Llandudno, but he moves to different places along the coast. Goes far sometimes and stays overnight and comes back the next day or the next week. But I've seen him at Llandudno quite a few times. But I don't go with him
That's
when
nice.
he stays overnight or goes over weeks and weeks sometimes over the busy periods. But always comes back, gives us presents.
Very nice. And as he's in Llandudno at the moment, which venue is he in? Which venue is he in?
I think there's one called the Pavilion, and I think the other one is another music hall, but not near the sea. It's one's on facing the sea and one's not. One's down the side street, which is smaller than the one on the beach, near the beach. He likes to
Wonderful.
sing at the big one.
So I wanted to share that because it was more of the happier time from the regression before he went to Llandudno. And Steve and his girlfriend say they went to Llandudno to see some of the sights, and it was really absolutely compelling. Saw Sidney Sutcliffe, who this person he was, name on the cenotaph. Went to the home of where Sidney Sutcliffe grew up, and saw some of the sites which used to be like the piers and things, and did a couple of broadcasts on it. Not as much as he wanted to because the wind was just horrendous there. And what is really compelling is as they were going towards Llandudno, they were looking for what would have been Sidney Sutcliffe's house, and Steve said, I think Sharon, so I said Sarah, didn't I? Sharon. So I mixing people up. I do apologise, Sharon. Was saying that to the turn right and you'll get to Sidney Sutcliffe's house, and then Steve disagreed with the way they were going, and in fact the TomTom took them wrong, and if they followed Steve's directions they would have got there much quicker. So that's quite compelling. I'm going to play one last clip for you because I know that we're approaching the end. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Next week is Neil Rushton, who's going to be talking about the Fae. Very good friends and a co-host with Kate Hairgirl Ray. So that's going to be, and he's got his interpretation of the Fae and fairies. If you're watching from my channel, please give Exploring the Afterlife a like and a subscribe. And if you're watching from Exploring the Afterlife and like this content, like to see more Past Life Regressions, then please go to Past Life Regressions with Paul Goddard on YouTube and give a subscribe with that. So that would be so brilliant and so kind of you. Thank you. We're going to do one more regression now, Janet, and I absolutely love this one, and it just shows how people's personalities can completely change during the regression. Lifetime Joe, what do you feel Mama does with her days? What do you feel Mama does with her days?
Sometimes she dresses up and she goes to tea at somebody else's house. And sometimes we have visitors, ladies. I think they're ladies from church. And they wear long skirts and they have nice blouses. And they have nice hats when they come. And they have their umbrellas, but they're only like little umbrellas. Very fancy they are. And they all sit round and they talk, but I have to go out then. Children should be seen and not heard, and sometimes not even seen. when these ladies come, I have to be quiet. Shh. And Mama says, then afterwards, I shall have a bit of cake, a bit of Victoria sponge that she's made in the day for the ladies.
Wonderful. So when you're asked to go out, what do you feel you do? What do you spend your time doing when you have to go out?
Sometimes I don't want to go out. But I do go out. And I think, if I could catch a frog or a toad, I'd take it back and chuck it into the room. I'd laugh. That would make them all go, oh. But I take a stick and I run it along the side of the fence. And then I think, ooh, if it make too much noise, because I'm supposed to be being quiet when the ladies come. So I have to go out then. And I go hitting the grass, hitting the trees, just doing nothing much.
Brilliant. She was an absolutely amazing subject. Thank you so much for all your kind words. Thank you so much for staying with me and me doing this unusual one just by myself. I hope you're having an outstanding night. If you're having a night at the moment, if you're watching from somewhere else around the world, I hope that you're having an outstanding day. I'll see you next week on Chit Chat Tuesday. Whatever you're doing, having a wonderful, and thank you so much for being with me tonight. Take care, everybody. Bye now.